Hey everyone, Marilyn here with Just Imagine. This is a platform that was created to touch and inspire. Our goal is to transform every generation one life at a time. So I am happy to be here with you with another conversation. To be quite honest, my heart is eventually to just have conversation with people. So this is one of the reasons why I really encourage you guys to engage in the comment section, because by nature I do like to talk, but not by myself. So it's kind of I would say, a challenge to just talk. And I feel like some topics really require to have the back and forth between different individuals to really give it a meaning, to make it make sense, pretty much, if I would say. So again, if this is your first time on this channel, I really welcome you, and I would encourage you to like, subscribe, share if this is of value to you, and please engage in the comment section, because it's always good to have a different viewpoint and different things. To maybe one thing made sense to you, but or caught your attention, and you have a different perspective on it. So that's how we grow together, and we all can learn something from one another. So today's topic, I feel like it will be interesting. So it is a topic that has been rather controversial all around the world. So we're gonna dive into the topic of hypocrisy. So which, me being from the church world, it's one of the reproach, I believe, of the faith folks. People usually say, well, yeah, I don't really want to go to church because these are a bunch of hypocrites. And to be quite fair, or I would say, to be frank, there are several scriptures in the New Testament, even from Jesus himself, calling people hypocrites. So I can kind of see where the sentiment is sort of coming from. But today I want to look at it from a different viewpoint. And I want us to pretty much rethink the term or the idea of hypocrisy as a whole. Yesterday, having been in the United States Mother's Day, which, having been born and raised in a different country, I was born and raised in Haiti. For us, Mother's Day is the last Sunday of the month, but here in the United States and other parts of the world, it's the second Sunday of the month of May. So depending on where you are, so Mother's Day might be celebrated on a different day. So to all the moms and the mentors, so I say happy Mother's Day. And I'm also very much aware of, depending on where you are in life, Mother's Day might have different meaning or a different expression for you. It might bring, when I say Mother's Day, it might bring different sentiments to you. So how does really Mother's Day relate to hypocrisy, really? The two topics. So I'm gonna try my best to merge the two, and prayerfully, in a way that it makes sense for you guys, and it will kind of push you to comment and then just give me a viewpoint, pretty much. Me being from the faith world, really, and me being a mom, I could say that those two areas are two areas really that do get a lot of backlash, that get a lot of reproach, I would say. Yeah, it's Mother's Day. A lot of times you see people, like you saying, happy Mother's Day, and the flowers, the cards, and the so on and so forth. But it is an area really where I feel like you always challenge, and it is an area you're not really sure. You cannot be really too sure of what it is that you're doing. And oftentimes the things that you think that you're doing right may not be perceived as right. And in a world where I feel like different groups are finding their voice, and then they are rising up, and there's always a call for change, which a call for change in parenting is beneficial, because we are growing, we are evolving as humans, the society is changing. So there's always benefit to do things better. But my take on it is really, I feel like moms don't really have that luxury sometimes, because oftentimes the role itself, because we are called to part of our role is to nurture. Yeah, we give birth, but we nurture, we help structure and shape the next generation or the people entrusted to our care. um, Oftentimes there's a tendency for our voice not to be heard. There's a tendency for us not to even say what we really think, because in that very role that is to protect, if we were to say the things that we were thinking, or how we really felt at a certain time, it would perhaps not be received well. So oftentimes our voice can be suppressed, just just in an attempt to just do things well. And even there, you there's still like a reproach that could be just, again, from the faith community. And again, you don't really have to be a Christian or a person of faith to just dive into that conversation, because I know not everybody that will come across this material is a believer in the Lord Jesus Christ, and that's also fine. You can still find a way to listen from the perspective of, where can I find value in this conversation, or where can I apply something that is said here in my life, or where do I disagree and I want to just give another opinion. That's also fine. I feel like sometimes it's not so much because we want to be hypocrites as mom. If I do think, in my experience anyway, it's just an attempt to use the tools that we have and hoping for the best. For example, I was a teen mom, but then I don't expect my kids to be teen mothers. Like, my hope and dreams for them is for them to do things different than I've done them. And it's not, and if I would sit with someone today and I would advise them, I would not advise any young girl to just go out and just, have a kid right out of high school. And I would definitely advise them to prepare to have a better structure for their lives, to have a better idea of self, of who they are, before they could step into motherhood, or to even to step. My advice on dating might not be what I have been doing, because I can realize that perhaps what I have been doing didn't really bring forth the fruits that I desire, and I would advise differently. So where does church fit into this? I feel like, just like moms, the church calling is to help shape and nurture and structure the people entrusted into the sheepfold, I would say. And oftentimes, yes, we depend on God. Yes, we are doing it by the Spirit, but there's not always, we're not always where we aspire to be. To be quite honest with you, I'm gonna go to the definition. Like, I kind of Googled definition of hypocrisy. I'm gonna read it because I don't really think I would do it justice just doing it by memory. It says it's the act of pretending to be something or believe something that is not true, or acting in a way that contradicts one's stated belief. And it is from the Greek word hypocrisis, and which means play acting. So it also refers to the false assumption of virtue of religion. So when you're really looking at it this way, from a faith perspective, you could understand why some people would say, like, you think one thing, but then you're acting a different way. But isn't it like sometimes the essence of faith? Sometimes you get called to do something, or to aspire to just step into a role where you're not even fully there yourself, and you just growing as you go. And sometimes by the time you think you've arrived, yeah, you the person, or you being shaped into that person that you needed to be to do that task, then you called to do something else, and then you have to evolve, so to speak, and just do something else and step into another role. Now, it's not a call to be complacent and then to just throw it, the Lord is working on me, carelessly. But to be honest with you, I feel like sometimes, like, not sometimes, I do believe that there is a hypocrite inside all of us. Because even if you take the faith element out, there are many opportunities for us to be hypocritical, or for us to bring it to the forefront. Where I think we could do a little bit more work is just really let people know sometimes, this thing, I'm figuring it out as I go. I have not arrived. And oftentimes, I think in the faith community, sometimes we would give people the impression that we are the answer, we have the answer, when we don't. We are ourselves on a journey with the one who has the answer. Because sometimes, too, you would see people backtrack some of the things that they said in one season, and then in another season, they will take it back. I don't think it's because they weren't really authentic. They just got the revelation that was appropriate for where they were at. Because us, you have to understand that, like, we are human beings receiving information or having a relationship or being on a journey with an eternal being, a God who knows it all, who has all the knowledge, all the wisdom, and who lives outside of time. So there's so much that he can really fit into you, into your heart, into your mortal capacity at any given moment. So there is a revelation that you get over here with what you had, or for the capacity that you had. As you grow, as you are evolving, you might be able to receive another revelation. Does that mean that God is bipolar? No. Does that mean that God is a confusing God? Absolutely not. But it's like, for what he has created you for, what he's called you to do, and how you are walking with him, and at the pace you guys are just going in that relationship that you have, there are different things that will come to you at a different moment. Same thing like motherhood. I believe as we grow as humans, there are certain things that were acceptable over here that were acceptable over there that are not acceptable over here. There are times we have to go back. We have to make amends. There are things that we have to think differently, and there are things like those of us that have multiple kids. There are things that we did with one child, and we're like definitely not gonna do that with the other child, because we have grown to another space. We are at another era of life, or we are realizing that each child is different. Like, what works with this one ain't gonna work with that one. So there is always that opportunity sometimes to rethink. But what it looks like for the outside world, for someone on the outside looking in, is that you are out here saying one thing, but then you are doing another thing. I know the church topic is a very sensitive topic. So is the motherhood topic, because there's always an opportunity for different viewpoints, for different inputs and different experiences. That's also the thing. Like, my experience of one environment might not be somebody else's experience from one environment, and our experiences do have a say so in how we view our world. So I want to invite us to dive into that conversation. I think this is perhaps a conversation starter. It's not so much like me coming to just giving you anything that perhaps you didn't know before. Maybe this is an opportunity to start the conversation about, like, how we understand, other people's journey, or how we understand from the outside looking in, how we understand even the word hypocrisy. How do we understand it, and what is its impact, or its definition, based on how we understand it? What is its impact on the world, on the way we engage with the world around us? So that's pretty much the question I really wanted to ask. So again, this is a conversation starter. I would really, 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 really appreciate it if you guys could give your different takes on that particular topic. And even when it comes to the motherhood thing, I would say here, you have to give yourself grace. I understand, and grace is a two-way street. Sometimes we want it, but we're not willing to give it. You have to give yourself grace and extend grace to even others. Yes, I know there are several scriptures, like even in Matthew, like where Jesus literally rebuked people for being hypocrites. But like anything else in the Bible, like one particular scene, one particular statement is not the whole Bible. We cannot really just take it and then just based on that one, we make our whole theology. You have to look at it as a whole because it is a whole book. You have to look at it in its context. I think that's enough things said because I have said a lot. So I want to really give us time here to maybe dissect what was said and react to what was said. And perhaps we can have another conversation around the feedbacks, so to speak. So this is it for today. I hope you guys had an amazing day. Pretty much you are having an amazing day. You're going to have an amazing week. And if not, I would also invite you to just take a minute, take it in, face things for what they are and take them for what they are not, and know that there is always an opportunity to restart. There's always an opportunity to reevaluate. And as long as you are breathing, you are seedful. There is treasure in you. You have everything that is in your hand to succeed and to conquer. So, all right, guys, I hope you have a great day and take care until next time.